This program is brought to you by UCKG.
So it says it was your second time.
Yeah, that's a good time.
Are you ready for tonight?
Yeah, I'm definitely ready for tonight.
Hey, how are you? We have Chanel tonight in our studio. And tonight she will talk about her story, how she suffered. She used to have grudges, anger. She used to live with fear for many years. And I want you to call your friends, family members, especially those who they are suffering with family problems. Because tonight in our show, Finding Answers is going to be a blessing. Prepare yourself.
Suffered from a lot of insecurity, had sickness, unstable childhood, faced emotional abuse. This is just a few of the many problems faced by Chanel Mackenzie. A very good evening to you. This is Finding Answers. And sorry, I couldn't help, but I needed to highlight some of the main points that we'll be covering and talking about, because Chanel Mackenzie, the guest of our tonight show, has a thrilling, intriguing, and life-changing story to share with you. If you need to talk to us about your problems, we'd like to hear from you. You can give us a call. We got a 24-hour helpline. The number is 020-7686-6300. You can write an email to help@findinganswers.tv and we will be more than happy to help you. With me here to help discuss about this topic, I have Pastor Neil. Good evening, Pastor Neil.
Good evening, Pastor Douglas.
Thanks for coming to the show once again.
Always welcome.
Pastor Neil, Chanel, our guest of tonight's show, she had a lot of issues. For instance, here, it says that she faced emotional abuse to the point that, you know, she left home in her teens to live on her own. And a lot of people do this, especially teenagers, because when they have, you know, this friction and these, when they can't get on with their parents, and they are always having this animosity. Many teenagers run away from home. They leave home as a way of escaping that problem, but that's not escape.
No,
because we are going to find out here that what Chanel did when she left her home to live elsewhere, to live on her own, to live with her partner, thinking to herself, well, now my life will be far away better because now my mom will not be pestering me anymore.
yes.
But then she found a much, much bigger problem. And this is the reality of many people.
Because you know, Pastor Douglas, many people, they think that when I run away from my problem, so I used to live in Wood Green or used to live in Wales. So now I run to London. So now the problem is left there in Wales. It doesn't work like this. I have to confront my problem. And these many, they have been facing in the family. So when the person tries to run away from the problems, they only make the situation worse.
Yeah, and by running away from a problem, you're not really solving that problem.
No.
You're not really tackling the problem from its taproot. You are just having that, fake sort of confidence, and it's an illusion. Really.
Yes.
It's a lie. Where your case somewhere in the back of your mind, you say, well, now my problems are all finished, but deep inside, you know it's not true. You just put it under the carpet.
Exactly.
But the problem is still there.
It's still there.
And this show here aims to help people tackle their problems once and for all. Your problem has a root. If you don't go and deal with your problem by its root, every now and then the problem will keep bouncing back, and it will be like that bad plant where you kill it, it comes up again.
Yeah.
You try to kill it, it's like a cancer.
Yeah.
You know that cancer that resists any form of treatment, and then you do chemotherapy, radiotherapy, you go through the best specialists of the world, you undergo surgery, you go through different procedures, but the tumor is always growing back. So is a problem which has not been resolved by its root.
Because if you don't kill that tree from the root, or destroy that problem from the root, it will always remain there. And that's what happens with many people. I don't know where you are watching from right now. Maybe you're watching from inside London, outside UK. I don't know. But wherever you are, remember this. Without the root of the problem is removed, Chantel is she's going to explain to you how she destroyed her problem. She thought that running away could solve it, but it didn't solve it.
02076866300. I'll say it again, 02076866300. Give us a call. Actually, you can book an appointment, a face-to-face appointment, to talk to Pastor Neil or myself. We are entirely willing to see you. And there will be no charge. We are not going to be charging. We are not going to be charging you. It's absolutely free. Our aim is to help you. Our aim is to offer you freely what we have been offered. Somebody helped me someday. Somebody was there for me when I was very, very needy. And the help I received back then, I would like to offer it to you now. Okay? Will you go to this testimony? You're going to watch now this testimony, and after this testimony, we will be back with you. This is Finances.
After I left school, I always knew that I wanted to go to university to get my degree. But it seemed like everything that I was doing to try and complete my degree, it seemed like everything was going wrong. My life felt like it was upside down. There were so many problems coming from left, right and center. I had a child to take care of. Then when all the problems of taking care of my son, being a single parent came along, it seemed impossible for me to achieve that dream that I always wanted. After I found my faith in God, then I started to put everything that I had learned into practice. And once I had done that, then I was able to use all those tools for me to achieve my dream that seemed so impossible for me to achieve. Now I'm a graduate and reaching for my dreams.
What you have seen and heard was a very, very powerful and real story from someone who discovered the amazing, life-changing power of faith. And you know what is so amazing about the power of faith, Pastor Neil? It's available to anyone.
Anyone.
Because sometimes people say, oh, I'm not privileged. I have not been born in a rich family, or my parents did not have a good background. Therefore, there are certain privileges which are not for me because of my, of the country I come from, my skin color, my ethnic group. No, when it comes to faith, faith is free and available to anyone.
It's like this, Pastor Douglas. Faith is like the signboard with the sign. I decide to follow the direction that sign says, so I'm going to reach that destination. If you are going through difficult moments, you want to help, you also can find our program on Facebook. You go to Finding Answers. Also, and YouTube, you can go there at the bottom. You type there, Finding Answers. You can find our program there in HD quality. You want to help? Help is at hand for you.
Exactly. Actually, they can share, they can copy and paste the link. They can share the link to their friend, and your friends will be able to watch our previous episodes in HD quality. Okay, now we'll go to a short break and we'll be back with you shortly.
push me for the rest of the week. So it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
Welcome back to Finances. We are going now to talk to Chanel Mackenzie, who is our guest of tonight's show. She's got a powerful and amazing story to share with us. Chanel, how are you?
I'm okay.
Brilliant. Thanks for coming to the show. Chanel, tell us about your life-changing story. How was your life before you have discovered the power of faith?
I was someone that didn't have a direction. You know, I came from a background where I was always sick. I had a low self-esteem, and you know, I didn't have a great background. So it was a really tough situation for me to go through.
You know, it says here that you suffered from a lot of insecurity.
Yep.
Explain that to the viewers, please. Where did this insecurity come from?
It just started from my childhood, probably from the age of 5. I just felt like the odd one out. For some reason, I just don't know why. I felt like, you know, out of all the kids, I was the ugly one, and you know, and I just grew up with that character, and I just wasn't like the other kids either. I was always, you know, one minute I was happy, one minute I was down, and I didn't know why. So yeah, that was my life growing up.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and then it says here also that you had a lot of sicknesses.
Yeah. From my teens growing up, you know, I went through a situation because from the age of 10, I went to a family member's house to live. You know, that's when the relationship with my family members started to change. And then when I returned back home, you know, things wasn't the same at home. There was always arguments, there was always problems, there was always situations, which was bringing a lot of stress to myself. And then from the age of 16, I started developing this medical condition called epilepsy.
Tell us more about this.
With the epileptic, it would happen once every 6 months. So it started off really small. So, you know, one day I was just walking down the stairs, and then I got dizzy. And all I remember that day was just running up the stairs so I don't fall down. And then I just didn't remember what happened. I just woke up next to my bed. And I had no idea what it was. I thought at first I'd passed out. And at the time, nobody was in the house. I thought I just fainted. So I thought it was a one-off. So I just ignored it. And then the same thing happened again, you know, 6 months later. You know, this time I was outside in public, and the same situation happened, but then I had bitten my tongue. So I thought, wait, that's strange. You know, I know that this is not like a symptoms where I just faint. I know it was something deeper than that. And somebody said that when they saw me, I was shaking and foam was coming out my mouth. So when I was taken to the hospital, that's
so basically you're having a fit.
Yeah, that's when I was diagnosed with epilepsy.
Okay, so you were diagnosed with epilepsy.
Yeah, by the doctors, and when I went into the hospital.
And then it also says here that you faced emotional abuse to the point that you had to leave home in your teens and live on your own.
Yeah, I wasn't getting on with family members. I would always be like the black sheep of the family. So say if you know, any former family member or relative will make a mistake, they would let that mistake slide. But when I made the same mistake, it will be really bad. I'll be called names, you know, I'll be talked down to. I was told that, you know, leave, don't come back, why are you living here? Like, I would receive all kinds of, you know, threats from family members that would put me down. And it just got a bit unbearable for me because I was really young. I didn't know what to do, and I just wanted to get out of there. I just didn't know what to do. So it came to a point where I just decided, look, I'm done, you know, because I was working at the time. I had a job. So I just decided to just pack up and leave home
How
without
long it
telling
lasted
anyone.
for?
The runaway.
No, the names, calling names, and
It's been going on for about 5 years now. And yeah, it started to get worse and worse. Instead of getting better, it started to get worse and worse and worse. And I just couldn't deal with the situation anymore. And that's when I decided to leave home.
So it was like you hit rock bottom,
Yeah.
came to a breaking point, and just said to yourself, you know what, enough is enough. I can't take this anymore. I can't put up with this anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave home. And what happened next? I mean, what did you do when you left home? Where did you go to?
I went to a hostel at first, but then when I left, I ran off with a low self-esteem. I ran away with sickness. So with all that character inside of me, you know, you could imagine how my life was at the time.
Did you bear a grudge against your?
I was, yeah. I was angry with that family member, you know, that put me in that situation, you know, and I felt really down because I've never had like a female role model before, you know. I've never had that female role model, whereas there's a lot of girls that grew up and they could always say that, you know, there's a female role model in their family. But in my case, I was not able to say that because, you know, most of the role models, they were not the best examples. So if somebody was to ask me, you know, who is your role model, I couldn't even answer that question. And that caused me to feel really ashamed.
You say here, and this is a very powerful statement, I tried to replace my family by getting married at 19 and had my daughter at the age of 21. The marriage only lasted 3 years. Explain that to us, please.
When I was living, you know, in the hostel, and one day I was hanging out with my friends and we went out. That's how I met my ex-husband at the time. He became a partner, and we were friends for about a year. And then a year had passed by, and you know, we started to like each other, so we started dating. But because he was a little bit older than me, I was only 19 at the time, and he was 6 years older than me. So he was at that age where he just wanted to have a wife. He just wanted to get married. He just wanted to come out of that lifestyle of having girlfriends. So when we got into the relationship, immediately he started asking me to marry him. And I thought to myself, wow, you know, things are, this might be an open door for a much better life. You know, I went through this problem with my family, and you know, maybe if I get married and build a family of my own, then the problem will be over. So, you know, 6 months into the relationship, we decided to get married. And I was only 19 when we got married. And it was I don't know what you call it. It was a hitch. It was us getting hitched because, you know, none of the family members were there. So we just went off and got married. And family members wasn't even aware that I was getting married because, you know, I never allowed them to be a part of my life at the time, so they didn't know what's going on.
You see, Pastor Douglas, many times when a person runs from a problem, sometimes where they go, certain things present itself as if it's good. And when the person finds himself embracing that situation, when that situation swallows that person, and I believe is the case with her, soon she will say, and maybe this is your situation. You have been running. You have been running because you are having problems in your marriage. Maybe sometimes the husband says something that is not right, is wrong. Maybe you are running from your parents. They say things and you are running. Running will not solve the problem because you are going to find yourself in a situation where that scene looks good. Is in her case, everything looks good. Love, the love looks like was the real love present itself. And if you want our help, call us now at 020-7686-6300. Call us. Or you can send your question. Do you want us to answer? Send your questions because we are going to help you. But it makes no sense running. I don't know where you are watching from. But wherever you are watching from, stop to run. I'm talking to you. Stop to run, because running will not solve the problem. Because when the person runs, at the end of the day, they have to go back to square one to fix the problem. I don't know if that was your case.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So you mentioned here that the marriage lasted 3 years.
Yeah.
What happened?
In the first year, everything was going really well. When we got married, we found our flat. So, you know, and then at the time, you know, his career was going really well. And, you know, I also had a goal for myself as well. So things started to go really well. And then after a year later, you know, then I had my daughter, you know, and that was something, you know, he always wanted. He wanted a child. So things were going well. But then the downfall started when, you know, when my ex-husband went through a battle, you know, with himself. And that's when the relationship started to go down. There was always arguments in the house. There was always one issue after another happening. And it just sort of brought back a lot of bad memories to what I went through, you know, at home, you know, in my childhood. So, you know, I started to become grudgeful towards everybody and everything. And even to the point, because I never had any female role models, I found it difficult to keep female friends. So I would have female friends. And if they let me down a little bit, I would get angry. Because I didn't have that female role model, I think that, oh, women are all the same. And then I had this character where I just started to hate women altogether. So it's like my character got worse, and even my sickness got worse as well when I had the epilepsy.
So you started developing a trust issue against women in general.
Yeah. Yeah, and then even like the sickness got worse, and I thought I was gonna die, you know, because you know, the epilepsy started to get worse and worse. There was even a time when I've knocked out my teeth. There was times when I banged my head, and it just got worse. And I was just fearing death, and I was just waiting for death to come. You know, I wasn't feeling suicidal or anything, but I just thought that I was gonna die at a really young age, and I was worried, you know, who was gonna take care of my daughter at the time. Yeah.
Well, we are going to give a pause now. We are going to go to a short break because Chanel has a lot more to reveal to us. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Call your friends, invite them, send them a text. Because after the break, when we come back, what Chanel has to share with us is very, very powerful. She's going to be revealing how her life was totally transformed. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Finances. You can give us a call if you like. We've got a 24-hour helpline where we have pastors who are willing to offer you a faith-based advice that can certainly help you. You've got nothing to lose, really. Give us a call. Our number is 02076866300. Alternatively, you can send an email to help@finances.tv. Back to your story, Chanel. Let's go back to your story and resume your story. Chanel, as far as you can remember, now let's go back to the old memories, okay?
Yeah.
What was the worst moment of your life?
The worst moment of my life was when I started beating up people. I became aggressive. Like if somebody even looked at me funny, I wanted to fight them, you know. There could be a man, there could be a woman, there could be, you know, I just became really aggressive to the point that I just started hitting people, beating them up, and I started getting pleasure over it as well. And, you know, I started to feel like, you know, I was strong. When I was, you know, whenever I would get into a fight with somebody, especially if it was a male, and if I'd win the fight, I would be like, yeah, I'm strong. Nobody can bring me down. You know, I can never go through abuse again because I could just beat up people. You know, but I knew that there was still an emptiness inside of me deep down. You know, I felt like by doing that, I was proving to everybody, and I felt like I didn't want to keep proving myself to anybody anymore, because that would cause me to become even low. You know, I started to feel even more low. And, you know, one day I walked down the street, you know, it was weird. It was right after, you know, a fight that I got into with someone. I was walking down the street, and I saw, you know, the Organization of Faith. I saw that, and I just decided to walk in. You know, I saw an advertisement that was talking about anger issues, health problems. I saw all the lists, and when I was reading all the lists, I thought, oh my days, that's all me. That sounds like me. And then I saw that it was for free, so I said, you know, let me go in, because I thought to myself, oh, you know, if I don't go in, they might start charging. I didn't know what it was. I thought, well, they might start charging. So I thought, let me go in and get this free help.
Actually, sorry to interrupt you. This is quite normal. That's the impression people get.
Yes.
When you offer them help, it's like people say, oh, it's too good to be true. For free.
For free?
Yeah, no, there is something there. You know, there is a sort of scheme. Maybe the first consultation is for free, and then once you like it, then, you know, you have to commit to terms and conditions, and now you need to pay a monthly fee or things like that. No. What we do here, we do it for free. We do it because we want to help you. We want to help you because we've been helped ourselves. We all had a dark past. Pastor Neil had issues. I am a former drug addict. I'm here hosting this show, but I used to be a severe drug addict. I OD'd 4 times. I had 4 overdoses. Okay, so I know what I'm talking about. I can help you. Pastor Neil can help you. We've been happily married now. This coming May now, I'll be celebrating my 14th wedding anniversary. And I'm not bragging about this here. No, but I just want you to understand that we are in a position to help. We can talk about family, can't we? Pastor Neil, how long have you been married for?
14 years.
There you go. I think we got married in the same year, didn't we?
Same year.
2004.
Yes.
That's it, yeah. So you see, it's 14 years with the same woman.
Yeah.
So we can talk about life. We can talk about marriage. We can talk about sacrifice.
Yes.
We can talk about give and take. Because this is a reality in our everyday life.
Because that's our past. We suffered. I used to suffer sleepless nights. I used to have issues in relationships also. And there are many problems. But if we sit now to talk about our problem, we'll take up the whole show. But the point is...
How is your life today?
Today it's amazing. You know, ever since I, you know, got the support that I, you know, received, you know, things in my life have changed. I no longer have the sickness anymore, you know, even though, you know, I'm now divorced, but, you know, I'm in good terms with my, you know, ex-husband and his family, and, you know, he's still around for my daughter. And also, my financial life is also blessed as well. My financial life is also good. There's a career pathway that I'm aiming for, and I'm almost there. So everything is good. I'm in a very stable life, and, you know, I'm even at peace with my family member as well.
Don't want to beat people anymore?
Pardon?
Don't want to beat...
No, no. And something, well, I wouldn't say embarrassing. I would sort of look back at it and laugh. An assistant saw me, you know. One of the person that was working there saw me, and was shocked to see me, because that person remembered me beating up somebody on the streets. And to see me there happy, to see me healed, to see me not being the same anymore, that person was even shocked. And I was like, oh, some of the things that that person even said about me, I was like, oh my days, I was like that. I don't remember. So it's come to a point that I've forgiven so much, and I've put the past behind me so much that I don't even remember any moments of my childhood anymore, and I don't even get angry with it anymore. So things in my life are really good, and there's a lot more things to come as well that I'm looking forward to.
Absolutely, Chanel. You know, congratulations. That's a very, very powerful story, a life of achievements.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There is a lot more to come if you just remain faithful to your faith.
I will.
Okay, right now we are going to be answering your questions. Let's go now to our new segment of the show where Pastor Neil and I will be answering your questions.
Welcome to our new segment, Your Questions. We are always available and always welcome your questions. You can send your question at help@findinganswers.tv. And we are going now to answer your question. Pastor Douglas, we have the first question here in this evening.
That's right, yes. The first question is from Alex from Croydon, South
Yes.
London. I find it difficult to convince some of my friends that don't believe in God, that He is real. It seems they don't want to listen to what I have to say. Any advice on how to convince them?
Pastor Douglas, it's like this. Alex, God is real. God exists. Sometimes we try to convince someone that doesn't believe. We have a close friend, Pastor Douglas, I believe you know him. He said when he was very young, he tried to convince his friend, his schoolmate, that there was a God. But his schoolmate says, I don't want to hear nothing, I don't believe. And he cried. He cried daily. But what happened? Did that friend believe? No. But does God exist? Of course He exists. So you can speak about God, Alex, but if the person decided not to believe, what can you do? I don't know if you have a say in this, Pastor Douglas.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus, the truth of the matter is God has to reveal Himself to an individual. Because even if you study God, if you do your research, you're not going to have all your questions answered, because in order to believe God, you believe God through faith.
Yes.
And faith is a divine revelation, which obviously is available to anyone, providing that individual is of a humble heart to accept the truths of the Bible.
So, Alex, don't stop to believe in the living God. But if someone doesn't believe in your God, don't let it pressure you. Because as God revealed to you, Alex, if another person gives the opportunity, He will reveal to that person also. So we hope we answer your question correctly, and don't stop to send your question, Alex. So now we are going to the second question, Pastor Douglas.
Yes, a second question. Okay, which is from Steve from Palmer's Green. Is it possible to use my faith to increase my finances? Is it greedy to pray for more money? Well, no, Steve. It's not greedy to pray for more money. Actually, there are many scriptures which give us references in respect to chasing our dreams, conquering, achieving our goals. Jesus Himself said, I came that you who believe me may have life and may have it more abundantly. And when we talk about abundance, we are talking about amounts. We are talking about increase, Pastor Neil.
Exactly. Because, Steve, it's like this. Let's say your salary can't pay your bills. You will not satisfy with that. You want more. Because if you can't pay your bills, you are going to suffer. So it's not wrong to pray for this increase, because you want to go higher, you want to grow, you want to increase, you want to develop. So once you believe and you want that, so you use your faith, once it's something that will be pleasing to God also.
I believe a lot of people have a problem when it comes to money, because They have this wrong idea where, oh, if I pray for more money, it's like I'm being selfish and greedy. Well, the problem is not having a lot of money. The problem is being a lover of money. Money is an excellent servant, but a terrible master. Right?
As he said, that money moves the world. It makes the world goes around. But if my intention for the money is wrong, that's where the problem comes in. If you, Alex, you says, no, my increase is to glorify God. That is a good thing.
And there is nothing wrong in, wishing to have a good family, having the means to travel, to eat what you like, to wear what you like, to have plenty of sufficiency. I mean, this is from God. Actually, the Bible says prosperity is a gift from God.
Yes. And if you want, Steve, if you want, continue praying because it's going to come. We are going to go now to a short break, and we'll come back. We are going to pray for you. Prepare yourself for that.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Well, previously we have answered your questions in the previous segment. So if you have any questions and you'd like us to answer your questions, you can email your questions to help@findinganswers.tv, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions here on air. Now, Pastor Neil, we are going to say a prayer shortly to this viewer who's been watching the show. And perhaps this person has just turned on their telly and they see here a cross and they've been wondering, okay, what is this cross all about? Why is this cross standing in between these two guys? Well, this is an unreligious program. We are not here to promote religion. Unfortunately, sadly, the cross has become a religious symbol in negative connotation.
Yeah.
Every time people look at the cross, they associate it with death, suffering. But as you can see here, it's an empty cross. There is nothing here. The empty cross indicates victory. The empty cross means Jesus has risen from the dead. And to prove that this is not just a theory, but it's a fact, you are going to watch now to one more life-changing story. And because Jesus is real and alive, and because he's risen from the dead, this person was able to see a transformation, a genuine transformation in their life. Watch now.
One issue that I used to really have was problems sleeping at night. For about 9 years straight, I would literally be having the same nightmare on and off, on and off. And it was a very weird but almost realistic nightmare. So it was like the area I would live in would morph into something different, and then I would end up being chased by black figures, like just running through my area. I would recognize like key spots of where I lived in this nightmare. And so what would happen, for me to get to sleep, I would be rocking myself back and forth like my head, just so it would rock me to sleep. I couldn't sleep without music and the television on. So for me, it took me a very long time, and then before I knew it, I wouldn't know what time it is and I have to wake up and I'm going to school. And this would happen for on and off 9 years. And for me, it was very difficult because it got to a point where I was so scared to walk through my area. And there was a particular part of this area where in the dream, I would literally be faced with this big black figure, and it would chase me all the way back home. So because of this part of the nightmare, I wouldn't be able to go to this particular area in my own area. I wouldn't be able to go through that place. I would take another route, the long way round, just so that I wouldn't go to that area. Even in the dream, it felt so real. It's like I could almost touch myself and feel like, but I would wake up and I would know that, oh, it was just a dream. And it would always end the same way. So for me, it was like, if it's almost kind of repetitive, it must be real. And there was even cases where I would sleepwalk. So I would go to the bathroom, I would turn the tap on, I would knock down the bike in the corridor, I would do many things, but be fully unconscious of what I'm doing. All these things I only knew because my mum would witness me doing it, or she would wake up and she would see that the bathroom had been run. Once, me and my mum, we went on holiday, and we obviously had to share the same bed. And I ended up beating her up in my sleep. So she woke up with scratches all over her, and she was like, "Louise, you just attacked me at night." And I was like, "But I didn't know." I felt so guilty inside of me. I was like, I would never want to hurt my mum, even though we didn't really have a good relationship the way that I wanted it at that time. I never dreamt of even hurting her. So when I saw that, I felt like a monster. But even though it wasn't me, I just felt like a monster. And even at times I would have dreams of like pushing my mum down the stairs. It was terrible. So for me, it was like, I didn't want to sleep. So when I went to university, things got worse because, you know, late night partying and you're up all night or you're studying. So you become restless. And for me, the only time I could sleep was during the day. I couldn't sleep at night. I couldn't. I'd be up maybe till 6 o'clock knowing that I had lectures, but I couldn't sleep. And it got to a point where once I was so tired that I completely passed out during the day. I missed my lectures, I missed everything, I was gone. To a point where people were so worried they had to break into my room. And they broke into my room and I was still sleeping. And then they woke me up, they were like, "Louise, like, where have you been?" And I was just like, "I've just been sleeping." And for me, that was really one of the worst moments for me because it was like anyone could have just come into my room and attacked me. I was so vulnerable, I didn't even know what to think. Thank goodness it was, you know, people who were actually kind of looking after me in a sense. But for me, that was one of the worst moments, and that attacking my mum at night because, again, I never would have intentionally ever wanted to harm her. But when I saw those cuts, it even hurt me personally, it did. There was nothing to tell me, oh, this is not right, this is not normal. It was just normality to me. It's only when I came to the church, I was coming to the Friday meetings where I understood that, okay, these nightmares, these things that I'm doing in my sleep, it's not me. And I started to understand the roots behind it. And it's funny because even as I started attending the Friday meetings, I had these nightmares again, they came up. But the funny thing is I remember the very last time I had this nightmare because I remember I went that night just so kind of angry that all these years I had been experiencing it, and I finally understood what was behind it. So I remember doing like a very strong prayer on me saying, it's not gonna be no more. But that night I had the nightmare, but it ended differently because usually in the nightmare, I would run to my house, I would be dodging all these dark figures, but I would run to my house and the door would not close properly. It wouldn't close. So it was a thing where it was like, I would close the door behind me, but you could see outside. It was very strange. But this very last nightmare, I'll never forget, the door closed. And for me, it was like I woke up believing that I had been set free. I knew that that was the last time I was gonna have that nightmare, and I didn't have it again. I didn't have it again. So from then, I started to have more peaceful sleeps. I didn't have to rock myself. Even now, I'm at a point where if the light is on, I'm like, turn it off. Like, trust me, it doesn't take long for me to sleep at all. I sleep peacefully and probably sleep too much sometimes, but honestly, I don't have no more nightmares. I don't sleepwalk. I don't attack people in my sleep. I'm not scared to go through that area. I'm free, so yeah.
That was one more testimony, Pastor Neil, one more. Do you know why I say one more? Because we have so many testimonies. Actually, every show we broadcast here from Finances, we show a lot of testimonies. We show video clips, we show live guests, we share our own experience. I mean, there is so much evidence. There is so much, that there are proven facts that really prove Jesus has risen from the dead.
And when the person really wants and help, really wants his or her life to change, you are going to jump for, let's say, the solution. And that's what we show to you in this program. We show to you the solution for your problem. And that's why, as Pastor Douglas says, our Lord Jesus is no longer on the cross. What happened is victory. Do you want victory? Do you want? So it's time for you to take a step. Come out of your comfort zone and do something, because that is how your life is going to change. Do you want? Do you? So start doing something and you are going to see how your life is going to change.
Yeah, and the first step they can take is to pray with us now.
Yes.
Because the prayer is an exercise of faith. When you pray, you think that prayer is just a little trivial thing, but it's not. It does really show how much you believe in God, because how come you're talking to somebody whom you can't see? And when you mean it, that really indicates your faith is real. Let's talk to God now.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer concerning your family and loved ones, send your name and prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
My Father, in the name of your Son, Jesus, there are many people, my Lord, that suffered as our special guest Chanel suffered, my Lord. She has been through a lot: mistrust, anger, grudges. For many years live with fear. For years, my Lord, live with a fake love. Try to run away from the problems, my Lord, but run into more bigger problems. And how many people today, they're running. They're running, my Lord, from the situation that stands before them. My Lord, on the cross, you said it is finished. And when a person confronted his or her problem by faith, that's what they do with the problem. They finish with it, my Lord. And that's why I pray at this moment for the broken families. Families that they can't say eye to eye to each other. Husbands, my Lord, that despises the wife. Wife at this moment that is breaking down in tears, my God. This person that have been sick for many years, suffered in and out of hospital, my Father. This person, my Lord, that can't sleep at night, but your hands is not shortened, and you can rescue this person. So in the name of the Lord Jesus, I rebuke now this sickness, and I minister freedom. I minister healing. I minister right now deliverance. My Lord, I pray for, my Lord, the viewers, those, my Lord, that they need of an urgent help. But my God, everything is possible for those who believe, and they have to take a step. And in the name of Jesus, you that you are watching right now, touch the device, the screen, whatever, touch here and be free. Touch and be healed. You are watching from the hospital, be healed in your body. My Lord, I determine freedom and I declare victory. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Be honest with me now. Don't you feel a lot better now? Don't you feel that, your mind is at peace? This is an indication, my friend. God is real. He heard your prayer. Do not allow third-party opinion to tell you otherwise. God is real. And you have seen and heard plenty of testimonies here on this show. Now, you make the choice. May God bless you abundantly. Stay safe.
This program is brought to you by UCKG.